My parents disowned me for not meeting their expectations. Now that I'm successful, they want my money. I was raised in a family where success meant one thing: becoming a doctor. My parents, both highly respected physicians, drilled that into me from the moment I could talk. They had one goal for me: to follow in their footsteps and carry on the family legacy. For years, I played along, studying hard, joining every academic club, and pretending to be excited about medicine. But deep down, I knew it wasn't for me. Since I was a kid, I had one passion: art. More specifically, I wanted to be an animator. I loved watching Disney movies and dreamed of creating those magical worlds myself. My parents saw my interest in art as a phase. "You can have hobbies, but you need a real career," my dad would say. When I told them at 17 that I wanted to go to art school and become an animator, the reaction was brutal. They didn't just argue or try to convince me otherwise. They outright disowned me. My mom cried, saying I was throwing my future away. My dad told me that if I went down this path, I was no longer part of the family. I had brought shame to them for rejecting the noble profession of medicine. They cut me off completely. I left home with nothing but my savings and my portfolio, determined to make it on my own. It was tough, but I worked my way through art school with scholarships, part-time jobs, and a lot of sleepless nights. I won't lie, it was scary, but deep down I knew I was on the right path. Years later, after countless struggles and rejections, I landed a dream job at Disney. I worked on an animated feature that became a huge hit, and my career took off. And then came the big payday. I won't get into details, but let's just say my hard work finally paid off. Big time. Not long after the movie premiered, guess who reached out? My parents. After years of silence, they suddenly wanted to talk. At first, I thought maybe they'd realized they were too harsh, that they regretted cutting me out of their lives. So I agreed to meet them. I hoped for some kind of reconciliation, maybe even an apology. But instead of an apology, they came at me with demands. Apparently, I had caused them emotional distress by not becoming a doctor, and it had damaged their reputation. They said they deserved compensation for all the pain I had put them through by pursuing my dream. In short, they wanted money. I was stunned. They didn't care about reconnecting or fixing our relationship. They just wanted a cut of my success. After all those years of abandonment, they had the audacity to say I owed them for the emotional damage I caused. I looked at them, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. I had worked so hard to get where I was, and they weren't there to support me for any of it. Now that I'd made it, they suddenly wanted to be involved, but only for their own gain. I told them, firmly but calmly, that I wasn't giving them a cent. My dad scoffed, saying I was ungrateful and selfish. My mom tried to guilt me, talking about how much they sacrificed for me growing up, as if that justified abandoning me when I didn't fit into their mold. I stood up, told them they didn't get to choose when they cared about me, and walked out. That was the last time I spoke to them. It hurts, of course. I wish things had been different, that they could have accepted me for who I am, not who they wanted me to be. But I don't regret choosing my dream. I'm proud of what I've accomplished on my own, and if that means walking away from people who only want me when I'm useful to them, so be it. At the end of the day, I've learned that family isn't about blood. It's about who's there for you when it counts.